Today, I want to talk about my first year of having my gray hair. It's really amazing how much I actually have forgotten. I forgot about the irritated scalp. I forgot about the self consciousness of thinking that people are staring at my grown out roots, as well as all of the time that I spent getting my hair processed. One thing that I didn't even realize was that once I went gray, I didn't have to do anything for my hair anymore. And I know that sounds kind of obvious, but have been so used to throughout decades always having something to do with my hair. And now that it's grown out and I've chosen not to really do anything with it, it's a very, very liberating feeling. Another thing that I've noticed, and it might just be me, but I've always gotten bored with my hair very easily. And so I was always doing something to my hair, mixing it up somehow. And since I've grown out my grays, I really haven't felt the need to do that. One thing is that I've always loved the effects of highlights. And I've always gotten my hair highlighted, but now I don't have to do that either. And I do have highlights. I have the natural sparkling highlights of my gray hair. Some of the options that I have used, and basically it's been, maybe adding a little touch of temporary hair color just for fun. And I like doing that because it, like I say, is temporary, but it's also not causing any damage. Another option that one of these days I might try is messing with lowlights. And by doing that, you can add either a semi-permanent or a permanent because you are growing them out. I think I would start with the semi-permanent so that I could determine if I really like the effect, but of lowlights. And by doing that, it's going to add a little bit more of a contrast, and that way my brights are going to be even brighter and my darks are then going to be darker. You can also add highlights, but when you're doing that, then you're actually bleaching your hair, and I am not going to go that route again. As soon as you bleach your hair, then you're dealing with yellowing hair and that sort of thing. So one of these days I'm probably going to maybe play with lowlights. But I do love that we do have some options to doing things to our hair that won't be damaging to it. Another thing that I really have had a lot of fun with is just settling in with my grays, and I'll watch videos of people putting their hair up in different ways, and that's been a lot of fun as well for me. And it's so neat to see because grays have different variations. You see that when you maybe put your hair up in a twist or braids or something like that. So that's been a lot of fun for me too. Ever since I started my journey, I did also really start focusing on having a very, very healthy hair care routine. And so I've gotten more particular with what takes up space in my cabinets. And I still do experiment, but I know what I want in my routine. I have continued to wash my hair once or twice a week, and I've been consistent with my hair care routine. And this is the same principle that I use with my skincare routine, so that if I do add something new, I can tell right away whether or not that product is going to work for me or not. And I do continue to test out certain staples like leave-in conditioners or heat protectors, that sort of thing, as well as I do have a rotation of shampoo and conditioners. By doing this, I can really then see how these different products affect my hair and whether or not I like it or not. So it is good to have a really solid hair care routine of products that you really, really like. And then when you want to test something else, you can then see how they stack up to each other. I do continue to use a clarifying shampoo as well as a purple shampoo, and I will use these products probably once a month. And then on the other weeks, I have been testing out different shampoo and conditioner sets both higher end as well as drugstore. I still take advantage of the little minis that you can get at Sephora, testing out maybe some shampoo and conditioner sets that are a little bit on the pricier side. That way I can tell whether or not these are something I may consider purchasing down the road. I have noticed along the way that I have started limiting certain products. I decluttered, say, some texturizing products, mousses, gels, that sort of thing. And where I have incorporated more things are products that add moisture to my hair, like leave-in conditioners, hair oils, blowout creams, that sort of thing. And this kind of started when I started washing my hair less, and I really did want to keep my hair feeling not weighed down by products. One thing that I was a little bit watching out for and concerned about was I had heard that some people say that their gray hair has a different, coarser, drier texture than their hair prior to that. And I really hadn't noticed that, I think because I was processing my hair. And so my hair was a little bit on the drier side. So that when I did start growing out my grays, I actually noticed the improvement in the health of my hair. Hi guys. Another thing that I kind of have been testing out a little bit, I've been hearing that some are recommending you don't necessarily have to trim your hair that often. This is where I learned that actually our hair, we lose moisture out of our hair as soon as we step out of the shower. So you do add your moisture back with your conditioner, but then when you get out of your shower, you start towel drying your hair and moisture then starts leaching out. That's why it's really important to use a leave-in conditioner to lock it in. So what I thought was that as soon as you washed your hair, then it just got more and more oily. And that is true when we're talking about your scalp, but as far as the ends and mids, moisture continues to leach out. And that's why I have incorporated, like I say, the leave-in conditioner as well as then hair oil for the ends. And so that's where I had a little bit of a change. Not much. I still believe that a good trim is necessary to keep your hair healthy and looking good. But if you are really watching that moisture level in your hair and you're doing your best to avoid the damage, then if you're trying to grow your hair out, you could maybe go a little bit longer between trims. Now, if you do have your hair the length that you want, then it is still a good idea to trim your hair, say every couple of months or whatever, to maintain the shape of your hair, as well as, like I say, it's always going to make the ends look better. But if you are trying to grow out your hair and your hair isn't in a really healthy state, you still need to grow that damaged hair out. So I would recommend that you not only start being a little bit more aware of, adding moisture into your hair care routine, but then on, a pretty consistent basis, getting those ends cut off. And that way, generally hair breaks off unevenly. And so if you could cut it off so that it's more even, it'll start looking better and feeling healthier. When I was growing out my grays, I wanted to test the method of growing out my long hair and keeping it that length. I used the strategic highlights method, and that way I was actually blending my processed hair with my growing out gray hair. The goal was actually to get my hair in a very healthy place so that it was growing faster, but I was still consistently cutting those ends, because what I'm wanting to do is grow out all of the processed hair. So say every 2 to 3 months, I would then cut off whatever that grow out was. So the processed dried old ends were getting less and less and less as I was going. And I think this is the same principle as if you're trying to grow out your damaged hair, is to stop doing what is damaging your hair and then growing out those old, dry, damaged uh, bits. And by doing that, you would want to then consistently trim your hair. But the healthier it is, the faster it's going to grow. And if you're getting those ends off, you're going to notice an improvement in the health of your hair. And by cutting off whatever that growth is consistently, then eventually you are going to get to healthier hair. And once you get to that point, you could probably extend the duration between your trims. Another thing that I absolutely love to hear, because I do blow dry my hair, and yes, you're using heat, but it is at a lower temperature. And if you're using a heat protector and not exposing it, say, every day, then it really isn't that bad for your hair. Another thing is, I've noticed it as well as I've heard others mention that they feel like when you blow dry and, style your hair that way, your hair actually feels like it stays cleaner longer than letting it air dry. Where I do feel a little guilty is that when I'm going out to either the office or we're going out for whatever reason, I do then curl my hair with the curling iron. I do still use the heat protector and that sort of thing, but yes, my ends do get dry and I do see, split ends and that sort of thing. I know some have mentioned styling their hair, say, one day and then putting it up at night and preserving their hairstyle for several days. I've never been able to do that. So that option doesn't work for me. So one thing that I did change up a little bit is I replaced my curling iron with hot rollers. And there's still heat, but they're not as hot as a curling iron. Another thing that I'll do for a looser, more straight look is really focusing on my blowout. So that way I'm trying to smooth out everything, make sure that to tame all my frizz and that sort of thing, and then really get nice smooth ends. Then the next day, if I have some kinks or things like that, add my heat protector, which does, add a little bit of moisture to my hair, then go in again with the blow dryer to smooth those out. Again, the hair dryer it's still heat, but it's not as hot as a curling iron. Another thing to do, especially in the summertime, is wearing my hair up in different styles, like a bun or a ponytail or things like that, where I'm not then going to use a heating tool to style my hair. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Please check out this next video where I discuss all the different types of ways you could actually be experiencing hair breakage. And I hope you have a great day.